Pricey,
And
do you want to
Pricey.
bring us in?
No.
You want to do the
Oh, yeah,
honors?
right. Yep. Okay. Ready?
Yeah, you
We're
never do
rolling.
these. I can't wait.
All right. Well, who cares? If I fuck it up, they can edit it.
It's already started.
I did do it once or something.
All right.
Welcome back to another episode of Straight Down the Middle-ish, and I am introducing today because we have one of my good friends, former, I guess now same as me, former, same as you. Well, Matt's still playing. Former PGA Tour player, now does a whole bunch of announcing, Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour Live, Mr. James Nitties.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Nate.
Also one of my good friends too.
Fellow countryman.
Yes,
Yeah.
boys. I'm
All
you're all
round.
my friends.
I also wanted to say the big breaks. James Nitties joins
fuck.
the big breaks.
I missed my
I
opportunity.
totally forgot.
Hold on, we have two of the great
alumni.
Big Break alumni.
Same season.
Same season.
Same season. James was around for a lot longer than I was, but yeah.
The glory days, the highlight of my career. Really.
I always hated how the Golf Channel just poached
Hey.
that. Like, if you went on that show, you were theirs for the rest of
Didn't they brand you for 3 years or something? They were allowed to brand you for...
I don't know.
yeah,
was the
yeah.
big
I think
break.
you said in the contract. I think
Yeah.
if you, for me,
Because you guys were, when it would come up, sliding
Yeah.
through the bottom line.
They still do it for
Mhm.
like Tommy Gainey, I think.
yeah, I'd always,
No.
always
But
put my.
it's got to
He
be...
will always be the big breaks. Tommy.
Hold on,
Tuchel.
it's got to be coming up to the 20th anniversary for you guys. It was like 06 or something?
It was right out of school for me, so
04?
like 07 maybe.
Yeah, I think it was 07.
for y'all when y'all were on
07.
it. But
Yeah, when
the
they were
show
on.
started about 04.
Yeah, it was-
maybe
I mean,
before that.
it is.
Maybe before that.
Who else was on
It was
there?
a great show.
Brian
What-
Contact.
Oh, yeah.
Contact.
He was a
He
good player.
won.
What was the guy that no one liked? Rodriguez?
Anthony Rodriguez. He was on there.
Where are they now? Like, bring that... I'm
There's
not
a lot
joking.
There's
you.
a dude named Josh that played in the
Reunion.
finals. It's a caddy out at Pebble. I've seen him a few times.
Hiro-
Great dude, Hiroshi.
Hiroshi.
I think you could produce
legendary
that.
mini tour player.
fairly cheaply and get... I think the reunion would be bigger than the actual show. Where are they
agree.
now?
Where are
Obviously, we
they
know
now?
with James and Matt,
Yeah,
are, but
it
like
would
Brian
be
Contact,
cool.
like that guy dominated that Arizona
Gateway Tour.
Gateway
Uh-huh.
Tour. I
Yeah.
wonder where he is.
Take
It
us
was a
back.
very strong, for a big break, it was a very strong cast.
Y'all had very different experiences, but how did it all come about? Like, how did this
How did
opportunity
you get
fall
on?
in
How
your
did
lap?
you get on that show?
Not
was-
online.
I
You
was
didn't
playing.
film it.
I was traveling throughout America playing mini tours, and I think I was on I was playing the Tar Heel tour,
Yeah.
and they were on the range, and they were doing auditions, and I roll up, and I had no clue what the big break was, and I was like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" They're like, "We're auditioning for a reality golf show, blah blah blah," and I was like, "All right, cool." So I
TV.
did.
I'm in.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
They're
it,
like a
and-
golfer, good looking, and has a personality. Holy shit! This,
check.
Let's,
Well,
let's buy a Powerball ticket.
I remember sitting with the producer, Daryl Marshall. He was great. Worked at Golf Channel for a long time, and he goes, "Dude, your entrance, audition tape was one of the best." Because I went on there and I was like, "Look, guys, if you want to improve your female viewership by 95%, it'd be rude if you didn't." I was like, I knew I wasn't going to get on, so I was like, I got to say some stuff.
Yeah.
And my reputation, like my kind of accolades I'd had in Australia, were pretty good. I'd played well in some big events, and so when I got the call up and I was like, all right, sweet, I was traveling through America, I was like, this might be a way to make some cash. I had no status anywhere, and it's funny because then I heard stories of you, and I didn't know much about college golf, and I didn't,
Wild man.
it was just mini tours. Like I knew which were the good players on the mini tours,
Yeah.
and I remember you coming on the show. It was hilarious, and you were feeling everyone out to see, who you'd possibly hang out with, and you just didn't want to be there. It's like you're like, I'm doing this because I got on the show, and I know, man, we became fast friends. It was a show that the producers constantly had to tell us, "Hey guys, can you talk about golf?" Because we would turn up in the morning and talk about
It was a mess.
Badusi.
dude.
like,
Yeah.
and you had a lot of guys staying in a room by themselves. So
in a casino.
In a
Yes.
casino, let's just say that adult viewing material on the TVs were running like 24 because we had everything was comped. So
you guys were watching the Thomas Bjorn.
well, we weren't, but like Contact came in and he's like, "Hey boys, I'm not even watching it. I press purchase every single day, and it runs for 24 hours."
Well, all right. There's a lot that's
how long did they film that thing for? Obviously, it
It was
went
like
for like
2
10
weeks.
weeks.
So here's
Was
Y'all
it?
were young and
Holy
single. But
Here
this
was my
But wasn't
experience.
this the first one where the winner would get an exemption into an event? So y'all Y'all had like a very
maybe.
higher end
And like a bunch of Strixon balls.
talent. Yeah.
Look, it was the first show where they had, like, as Matt said, a decent amount of good golfers on.
Yeah.
They went from like personalities of 5 handicaps down to scratch, but
Yeah.
people that would more bounce off the TV, debate each other, yell, crazy,
Yeah.
Well, the first season was Double D
Yeah.
and Kip
That was
Henley, which
great.
are great personalities, but end up becoming both successful caddies.
which I don't want to put it, you throw him under the bus here, but every tried to use the Double D quote. I remember he was like, "Pull that tape tight." Like, in
I
one of the
was doing
episodes.
it as a joke.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
sure.
doing that as a joke.
But
I think would have thought at that stage, and still that show was beneath him, so I could understand why he didn't want to be there.
no, he didn't. But I remember you turned up and you're like, "All right," you kind of the air about.
I'll tell you
everyone was
how I got on that show. So there was a guy named
College golfer of the year.
If I remember it correctly, I had no status out of college, and it was 07. I think I was playing the Hooters Tour, and Steve Burkowski reached out to me from the Golf Channel, and I feel like he basically just asked if I wanted to be on the show. And I was
He should do the casting. He
I
would
was like,
be.
yeah, he'd
He's
great
around on
for
the
it,
college
right? He
players.
knows, yeah.
It should have been post-college players with a personality.
So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So I went on there, and I had a blast. The worst part about the show is if you lose, you have to stay there for until it's
gosh.
done filming. So
Did you know that?
yeah. Well, listen, we're staying. Where
That will
was
make
it?
you
Mesquite,
nervous.
Nevada.
it was
Mesquite.
middle of nowhere.
At least 100
It's
degrees.
120 one day.
Every day.
Mosquito?
I mean, the humidity's not bad, but
Yeah, it's
one-
not.
Dry hot.
but still, it's 120. You're staying at a
Still.
casino. I mean, I was up with this dude. I think his name was Rick Schwartz. He was the co-host, and we would stay up till 3 a.m. playing the don't pass on the craps table all night with each other, just high-fiving under the table, having a blast. Then I'm up in the morning. It's 100 degrees out. 7 in the morning. I'm so dehydrated. I'm nervous, and you know how it was. Like, you're only hitting one shot. Like, my legs were shaky just because of what I was putting my body through out there, let alone the situation.
What people don't understand too, you sit around for an hour and you got to hit
Yeah,
one
there's
shot.
a lot of sitting
That's
around.
like that could be
Different
more nervous
nerves.
than playing on the PGA Tour.
No, it's
Yeah.
a different nerve.
But honestly, I never really had a big taste for it because I wasn't on that long. I was the second off on our episode.
yeah, you kind of started to care right at the end. I remember you like started to hit good shots under pressure, and you're like, oh, maybe I know I'm better than half these guys, and I would like to stay around, but
Was no lucky loser bracket? Like
No, there
the
wasn't
kids'
any of
baseball.
that.
and it was the worst was the team. There was a team show that you weren't a part of, and the winning team got to go to Vegas for the night, and I was.
Were you on it?
No, I was not. And I went down to a
That's nervous.
playoff. It was me and Contact, and he rolled in like a 60-foot eagle putt, and I 2-putted for birdie. And I was like, those guys going to Vegas was just, being in America, and I hadn't really been there, and I was like, this would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm sure the show, it was average, but the show didn't let us do much after, midnight, unless you're in the confines of the hotel and the
Yeah.
casino.
I was
That's
shocked
kinda-
at how long Jerry James lasted
But
on that show.
me too. Listen, and I
knocked-
love
Was
Jerry.
he on?
knocked
Was he
me
on
out.
your
Yes,
one?
he was on ours too.
Oh, wow,
His son. So if you don't know who Jerry James is, his son Justin James is like the world long drive champion, I believe.
He's on top
He's
five
won
or
it a
something.
few
And
times.
that's in
a couple
Mesquite
times
too, ironically, isn't it?
Yeah, he's an animal.
Yeah.
They live here.
Jerry James.
I was
also,
surprised too. Another thing, when you get off of that show, like we were staying at the place, I wasn't going to the course, so for a week and a half, I literally lived the resort life. Just went to the pool, got a massage every day. Actually wasn't that bad.
No, so you get eliminated.
Retreat.
There's one guy eliminated, right? And then obviously every show builds up. So one group gets bigger than the other. So the guys still competing in the show, and then where we're not, the people getting eliminated aren't allowed to be with the people.
How
in the
far
show.
did you go?
So I got knocked out by Jerry James. It
Oh,
was a 2-hole playoff,
Maybe I
and,
did
and he hit it like 380 next to a par 4 and got up and down.
So
Animal.
I
That's
Palencia, when I first moved in 05, I played a lot with Jerry, and he was a wrestler. He was like
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange, right?
Yeah.
So just backstory, and he wasn't very good at golf, and he knew that. But it was crazy. He got quite good. He got very good.
Oh my gosh,
He
if
played
hears
PGA
this-
Very
sessions.
headstrong,
but
dude.
when
if
he was on that
hears
show,
you say that, oh my gosh.
I don't care. But when he was on that show, he wasn't that good yet. because he ended up, dude, I would give him whatever, how many shots he wanted, and it was fine. I'd never lose. And then like he worked at it very hard.
Yeah, he's very confident.
He's got a good mindset for it.
Yeah,
he's now running for a state
Yeah.
senate or something.
Yeah.
He narrowly lost to a guy that had 100x funding than he did last year. So
Wouldn't want to.
I'll vote for Jerry.
I'm
James
voting for Jerry.
in
Dude, he's
anything.
great. He's like
In
anti-corruption.
anything.
Nice.
He's the man.
Nicest man ever. I
He
wouldn't
really
want to walk
is.
down an
He's-
alley against him. That's for sure.
No, you want him on your team.
He's a gentle giant. He's a good man.
But
I got one more big break, then we'll move on. But memory of Matt when you got interviewed and you got kicked off. How many players were there? 12.
I don't know.
around that. Yeah.
Boys
they're
and
so
girls?
are you
This
disappoint-
makes me cringe.
Are you
hearing some of
disappointed
this
that you
stuff.
just lost? And you go, "No, I'm just going to go join the other 11 losers."
Really?
Yeah.
The unfortunate, and I'll wrap it up too. The unfortunate thing about the show is that no one remembered me as a professional golfer, and everyone remembered me as like part of the big break. And I'm sure it's totally different but it's like, dude, I played a couple of years on tour.
Yeah.
No, man, but how good was the
yeah,
big break?
you probably had 2 runner-ups. Like, did you have 2 runner-ups at the Australian PGA?
James,
you
it
certainly
was
had
the
one.
same. Honestly, it was the same for me until I won. I think until I won Bay Hill back to the second time. Because the second time I
That's
went
crazy.
from before I won, I was big breaks.
Yeah.
Matt Every. But then I got
How
to be
could that-
back-to-back Bay Hill. Matt, you know what I mean?
But how could the big break
It's amazing.
override? I guess it's just branding. Like, you were College Player of the Year also. Like, the same as Tiger Woods was like 20 years before that.
NBC.
But it's unfortunate too. Like,
I guess
you would've
NBC
heard-
did they own Golf Channel?
No,
back
not
then.
then, no.
So it was just but it was on Golf Channel coverage. It
You
wouldn't
remember-
be on.
you were
network
hanging out
coverage.
with one of the remember Stephanie Sparks? She just
She
passed
just
away.
died.
That's
She,
right.
um,
I saw that.
It's crazy, but she was our analyst on the show, yeah, it's it was a fun show for me personally, but it's it was good to meet Every there, and it was a weird
I
scenario.
met a lot of good dudes there.
Golf definitely
had a good time.
needs something like that right now.
It would
like a
work.
reality show, yeah.
It would work for sure. We got enough influencers in the world. Why don't we just all throw them
You'd have to pay them too much, I think.
out there?
You
They
know who
get
else
paid?
just died? Is the narrator from... You've already met this guy. John Blackman. He was the narrator for Hey Hey It's Saturday.
Oh yeah.
He was quite sick, but he just died over the weekend.
What's
It's like
that,
our
Australian
childhood hero
show?
was like a variety show on Saturday nights. Was the greatest show, but the guy who was sort of the brains behind, he wasn't the host. He was like mid-70s, but he used to play this celebrity event which Nitties and I played every year. It's a 1 pro, 1 celebrity, 1 paying client, and 1 cut and 1 sponsor. You could wear your undies, you could do whatever you want. It got out of hand a little
It's
bit.
a shit show.
Really?
But every year
absolute shit
after
show.
the Australian Open, they would have it, the Jack Newton Celebrity Classic.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Took it down
I've
one
heard,
year.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
Birdie
Did you
the last
guys-
7
where
playing
did-
with the Prime
same
Minister.
part of Australia?
61.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Pricey.
Couple hours,
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We cross paths a lot. Yeah.
Nitties is from the same area as Nick Flanagan, Nathan Green. Anyone else? That area is like a couple hours north
sure
of
there's
Sydney.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dimmy Papadopoulos is a
Yeah,
little
and
north.
Dimmy.
Yeah,
Dimmy plays on the Korn Ferry. It's the great man's birthday yesterday.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
How old is he?
Fuck,
I think he's 33,
30.
maybe.
Very similar to
actually, I was
Nitties
like,
is Australian Greek Adonis.
I know. That's what I was.
just can't go up against a great man. He's
He
a
is
very
a-
attractive man.
He is a great
Really?
man, Dimmy.
More
Oh,
attractive than you?
and one of the
yeah.
nicest humans you'll
He's
ever meet.
awesome.
Soft spoken.
Good golfer too. Nearly got his card last year. Was right there for a little bit, but finished
He's-
about 40th on the points list.
Gets yeah, I think he, like all of us, gets in his head a little bit, his own head, but he's talented.
Yeah.
Almost won the Australian Open one year. So that's where all the good people come from, Newcastle.
Great. So,
place.
Nitties, you're in town for the Greenville event this year. You're like the voice of the Korn Ferry Tour.
Well, you probably put Shane Bacon.
You and
before
Shane
me.
Bacon.
Yeah, but
yeah.
your accent kind of carries over Shane's voice.
Once I got told about broadcasting when I asked someone for advice. It was too many accents, and it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I was like, oh, thanks, appreciate that.
Oh,
But
That helps.
That was a while back. But yeah, no,
it's pretty true.
mate. Anytime I can do Korn Ferry Tour, it's kind of I've become. Look, that's probably where I spent the most of my professional career. So
Yeah.
still know a bunch of guys out there. It's a different. It's more camaraderie. It's more of a kind of a traveling circus, but everyone hangs out. I don't know about these days, but back when we did, we had like 15 Aussies on the
It was-
Korn Ferry
it was-
Tour.
I
remember
guess
you guys all rolled together too.
The mentality would
Yeah.
be a bit like the European tour.
Yeah.
You're not playing for as much money, you're hanging out. Because where you get to the tour, the more money, you got your teams there. Now everyone's got 18 people in their team.
But we still had a fair few, like Spence and like guys like Peter Tomasulo,
Yeah.
Jonas Blix. Like it'd be
Yeah.
like the Swedes, Californians, and then a couple Americans would all hang out with the group because it just felt like it was a fun way to pass tournaments. Because you can go to some towns on the Korn Ferry Tour that just there is nothing to do.
Yeah, that summer run they go on.
Oh,
is
Omaha,
something
Wichita,
else.
Midwest.
You go to about
Springfield.
3 different Springfields, I feel like.
Yeah, and it's like 120 and humidity's 300%. You're just like, what are we going to do? Sit in the room and
Well, it sounds like minor league baseball. You're just kind of rolling around the country together, and you got your band of brothers, and you're trying to pinch a penny here and there. And,
Yeah, but
know,
dude, if you're doing that by yourself and no kids, no,
It's fun.
nothing, it's
Yes.
the best.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
the best
No
time
respons-
ever.
Hindsight,
no
it's
scar
awesome.
tissue. You don't know what's up there yet. Like
100%.
it's the best time ever chasing that with your buddies.
finding little nooks and crannies in different college towns, and
Everyone's
yeah,
got the exact
it's-
same goal. Honestly, like
in one way or another.
it goes without saying everyone's trying to win each week, but everyone's trying to get on tour. It's pretty good.
and everyone like there's no jealousy. It's if someone like I remember the lone win I had on the Korn Ferry Tour. It was one of my favorite nights out ever because you got all these different guys that are just happy for you to win because they know that it's kind of a part of a team atmosphere where
Yeah, there's 25 spots. It's not one spot, so there's a sort of
Yeah, and it's a cool tour, and I wish it had more coverage. But obviously, there's 7 events on Golf Channel this year. We just did Savannah was a new one. Savannah actually was a really good
Hey,
golf
Stephen
course.
Fisk.
Yeah, Fisk won actually.
George Southern.
That guy, ball striking machine. He is
Really?
once he gets had some. What did he win 7 times in college?
No, he must have won 8 because I won 7.
All right,
And he
1-8.
won more than me.
Oh, that's right. He broke Pricey's records. Nearly shot
But
59.
he was like Matt Wolf, Morikawa, and Victor. Obviously, with the 3 guys coming out of that, he was like just behind them. He finished second at NCAA to Matt Wolf that year. Like
he had an injury. He's
he's had some injuries, and I think
surgeries
I
or something.
think he changed equipment right out of college. A few things, and his swing has got a fair few moving parts, so it does rely a lot on your confidence. It's not like he's not
his
technically amazing.
His wins were done in style, though. When he won in Savannah, he barely made anything until
Really?
like the last 3 holes, but just
Yeah.
wasn't missing greens and reg hits it a long way for a short guy, and
He's played awesome since too. He's carried it on.
he's pretty much. We're not allowed to say tour bound. A lot of these,
Oh, he is. I think he finished like 4th again last week.
Well, yeah, the tours like we've only said Vidding is the only guy that we've said is tour bound, but
I'll take the bets.
yeah,
that
it's,
he-
I
that he
reckon
makes
there's
it.
about 6-7 guys that you could clearly say
You can
that
have my
are going to
house.
the tour. But
Well, you see a lot of everybody's game right now, and you've been following Korn Ferry for a couple of years. So, who are the guys that are coming up? I mean, you can't say tour bound, but you can see guys that are trending
Who
in
are
the right
studs?
direction.
Well, it's okay. Harry Higgs is obviously, I class him still as a PGA Tour player, but
Yeah.
he's just got himself back to the tour.
Won twice in a row, right? And
Yeah,
qualified for
but
the
he's-
US Open.
It's been rough for him, but the kid leading, Tim Vidding, it's pronounced Vidding.
Where did he play in college?
He was
Don't
Indiana.
know, Tim.
I want to say Indiana, but
Oh, Jeff Overton,
Swedish.
territory.
Jeff Overton.
I could be wrong there. But Swedish kid, he's already won twice. I think he's
Yeah, how old?
25.
So pretty,
26.
Pretty
He-
new.
Rookie on Korn Ferry Tour last year, finished like 40th. Back-to-back winner this year. I think he's minus 51 for two events,
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
and only just won them.
So he's holding some putts.
But hits it, good ball strike, hits it a long way. Making some putts, and I think he qualified for US Open, and he played the PGA. He's not playing this week at BMW, but it's like last year's Korn Ferry Tour graduates. I thought that was the best class in the last 5 years. I thought there's been 3 wins from them. I think there's a couple guys on there that haven't won that I thought would have done it. Goddard was one where I was like, this kid's going to be
he's
amazing. Took his time, but won at Myrtle Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Good college player.
Jake Knapp, obviously, he's already won. And there's a lot of guys that come out of that. But this is a young kid from South Africa. He won the first event of the season. Aldrich Potgieter, his name is.
Yeah, I played the
His name's Eldrick?
second stage.
Aldrich.
Aldrich.
He won second stage at Kinderloo last year.
Yeah, by about 4 or 5 or something, didn't he?
Yeah, just hammers it.
And he actually grew up.
Who doesn't have
played a
it?
lot of
Right.
golf in Australia. He
Really?
was under 15 Australian wrestling champion. So he's built.
How about that?
Yeah,
Don't they wrestle crocodiles? Isn't that a sport down
Yeah, that's right. Crocodiles and snakes. But he's one that jumps off the page. Now, he won the first event. He's gone a bit quiet, but he's got the confidence. He's like, I want to win majors and I want to be number one in the world. But I think his ball speed with his 3 irons like 170 or something, and knows how to flight the ball, which is a rare talent, He's got-
And what's he at on the money list right now?
so he's around 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah.
But he won.
You won't say it, but we'll say it. He's tour bound.
there? He's
Well,
bound.
yeah.
bound
He's
for
headed
the
to tour.
Now it's
He's bound for Botany Bay.
there's nothing like a pressure of winning an early event.
He's bound for Sony next year.
He shouldn't. I don't know what to say, but it's like he hasn't done much lately, and there's no. I don't think there's any.
Is there anything worse than winning on the Korn Ferry as a player and not getting your card?
No,
Oh.
I've been a part of it.
You
so,
have?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you just missed. You
How many
ports
times a year does that
couple times.
happen to guys? 2 or 3?
So,
There's about 2 or 3
more than
guys a
you think.
year that
Happened
do
to
that.
Spencer last
No,
year.
it's
Spence did it, but Spence also didn't. He
It's like
did it
6
with
or 7.
additional
Late.
status late.
Yeah, he
Like,
got.
it was a little different.
It's easy to do. I mean, you get like
But you see guys win like one of those first 2 events, Panama or Colombia, and
Akshay
then
Bhatia won one of the first events in Bahamas a couple of years ago,
Yes,
and he
yes.
missed his card.
Yeah.
And
Missed his card. Look at him now.
there's not a worse pressure than winning early and knowing, okay, I'm close.
and then like what is it? About 5 weeks go by, and,
And
you-
it's-
you're
and
like,
you
all
don't-
right.
And you can shoot 4 under every week, miss 5 cuts in a row, and be like, hang on. And
No
you get
one is
lapped
exact.
out there.
And
No
that
one's
schedule,
exact
the
day.
schedule's so brutal because you play those island events. I think like the first 8.
Yeah, it's-
You're out of country, and they really don't come to America until late March, and then they take more time off.
Then you
There's-
play.
Yeah, but also
then you,
there's
then
in
you
the
play
middle-
Lafayette, Louisiana.
in the
with
middle of the
no-
summer,
with no
though,
grass.
when you're starting that slide, there's just nowhere to take off. I mean, it's just week after week after
but you have
week.
to.
yeah.
I know it's a tough discipline to learn though for a guy that's trying to get his card.
Is it the chicken or the egg?
It's like, I missed my card after winning. It was because of a missed tee
I
time.
remember that.
Never forget it.
Well,
It
this
was
is, this is
part
at
of it.
Jacksonville to blame, Neptune Beach maybe.
I wish I had a good story. I wish I had 2 chicks that took me home and
2 chicks at the same time.
or something.
No,
Handcuffed,
it was a bottle
handcuffed
of cough medicine.
handcuffed me to a bed and I couldn't escape or something. But it wasn't. It was.
He was sick.
I just got food poisoning the night before. Woke up to my alarm. So to set the scene really quickly, I was running second through 2 rounds. Second last event of the season, I was probably 20th on the Korn Ferry Tour points list, which top 25 would get you PGA Tour card.
You probably need to finish like maybe top 15-ish that week.
And this is second to
yeah.
last event.
Second last
Yeah.
event here. It was at Dyers Valley. Probably had to finish top 20. Just got food poisoning the night before. Was up all night. Both ends. That.
Where'd
type
you
of
go to
deal.
dinner?
It's bonefish.
I went to
What the
I went to
fuck?
It was
dinner with
bonefish.
you.
Some bad tuna.
I remember exactly.
I mean, it's local. We'll call it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I woke up to my alarm in the morning, and I was so sick. I even got some like Advil, whatever, some stomach stuff from the front desk. Come back, and the room was dark, and I was just kind of laying on my bed, and TV was on. Fell asleep for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and phone rang, and I was like, uh-oh. And I was staying in Atlantic Beach. I'd Priceline a hotel, and back in the days where you express it, and it was like 35 minutes away because of traffic and all
25.
sort
Yeah.
of stuff. And I remember calling Rico and being, look, I was sick, but I still would have made it through the round.
Right.
I still would have easily. And I remember calling Rico.
Well,
I'm
calling
like,
his cell phone, but his cell phone was on silent.
yeah,
like,
so
do
cell
not
phone was
disturb.
on silent.
So-
Everyone's calling me, and then I think Matty Kelly, Mark Leishman's.
We ended up calling the hotel. We just, I
Yeah.
don't know why we didn't call the hotel as soon as he didn't pick up.
Right.
It took us 20 minutes to work out, like, hey, let's call fucking the front desk and
Yeah.
connect to James. And he's like, old school.
And at one time,
Look at
enough time.
my phone. Matt's like, "Hey man, where are you at?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh." And then I look at the clock, and it was like one of those early, like a 10:50 or 11 o'clock, and
You feel like you're
it
in a
was
dream.
like 10:45. And I just said to I called Rick, and I'm like, "Hey man, I can't make it." And Jonas Blix, I was playing with, he's like trying to hold up play
Sure.
for me. He's like legend.
Let the
And-
group go through.
And I was like, it wasn't no Scotty Scheffler situation where they were
Right.
going to adjust the tee times for me.
Yeah.
But,
Still some nightmare fuel.
I was like,
My
look,
heart
it's
just sank hearing that.
it-
Oh,
it's brutal because
You have
everyone's-
dreams of that.
Right,
If you had a dream of that, like where you can't take this back on the tee, or you miss your alarm, or you're running late to the course, like that's a dream for good.
The brutal
bad dream
part,
for golfers.
obviously, the situation is brutal, but also it was 10:50. Like it wasn't like it was
No, and
6:30 in the morning.
And I wish everyone thought I had a little bit of a reputation, which was dumb because I had guys partied harder than I did on the tour.
But you
But
only
you come
ever-
off as a bit of a coxman.
No, but you but you only partied on a Sunday night or a Monday night. Like it wasn't like you were going out Thursday for Friday tea time. Never. You were very disciplined.
Never
like
missed a
like,
tea time. I probably played better hungover.
Crap happens.
So I was
maybe a Saturday night if you were in like 60th.
Yeah,
I had
I did that
few of those.
plenty of times, but I never missed a tea time or anything. Anyway, so I went to the Tour Champs and it was just no chance. Like I shot 4 under the first day, and then from that day I just kind of
Daniel Island
finished. Finished 40th and missed by finished 26. So it was brutal, but I always look at the situation and I'm like, was I good enough to stay on the PGA Tour? Probably not. And then it's a terrible story, but my father passed away the next year, and there's no way he would have let me come back to hang out with him if I was on the PGA Tour. And it's like,
the Chinese farmer. Maybe so, maybe not. Maybe there's.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
well
it
past
been.
it now. It's I had a great life on the PGA Tour. I enjoyed it. I had a great time on the Korn Ferry Tour, and hopefully I can do something in being a wannabe broadcaster. But it's
not a wannabe, bro. You got it.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's Korn Ferry Tour. Good memories.
Great memories, and I'm with you. They should pick up more Korn Ferry action. It's entertaining. Those guys are playing for a lot out there.
Yeah, you want to watch good emotion and superstars that no one's ever heard of. It's kind of cool.
That's what Jeff Ogilvy. I remember him saying one time. He's like, if when I'm not playing, he goes, I'll watch the Korn Ferry if it's on, because like that's true emotion. That's like life changing. All these buzzwords, but it really is a guy that is talented. Like guys like Charlie Hoffman took 4 or 5 years to get there. Matt Jones. And they know that like once they're out there, their game is more suited to the tour.
Yeah.
And it's like the tour. Guy misses a 3-footer and goes from 2nd to 6th, loses 150 grand. Oh well, he's still got another 8 million in the bank.
And that number around the bubble, like we had a lot of drama last year.
So tight.
I mean, Shad Tootin, he got a rules infringement from the middle of fairway. He went from
what did he do?
Was that in Evansville?
So it was lift, clean, and place, and he just
cleaned and placed it.
He placed it, and the ball like moved 2 dimples, and he like reacted and put it back to the spot, and then he kind of just didn't really.
What's the rule? You can only do it once, right? If
it
stops,
take your hand off.
It's like
it
chess.
comes to the rest.
Yeah, once you take
balls in play,
and in his head he was like, well, it's not sitting on the position. I'm just trying to make sure, but you have to like confer with someone and all that sort of stuff.
And he lost his card.
Literally,
I hate those rules in golf, but you got to have them.
How's he doing? Isn't he?
So he took some time away from the game.
That's right.
He had some heart issues, and he's actually come back after about 6 months, and he's playing Korn Ferry Tour. He just finished 4th. He's
awesome.
Kind of starting to play well again. And then you got the guy on the other spectrum that got the 30th card on Korn Ferry Tour, and that was Rafa Campos. The guy's only had 12 starts this year, and he's won 22nd in the FedEx Cup. Like, he's done really well with his sporadic 12 starts, which kind of...
It's much harder now for those guys.
It's kind of bullshit.
What does a guy like that do when he doesn't...
full finish.
What does a guy like that do when he doesn't have a start on the PGA Tour?
He's just... I don't know what he's been doing in his weeks off. It's not like he's been playing a lot of Korn Ferry Tour.
He's got a big family, and... he's in a great spot being 122nd. I mean, playing 12
he's
events,
playing
that's playing some golf and making some money.
There's been like
terrible.
26 events on the PGA Tour. He's played 12.
It's better than being an
he
accountant.
delivers a heavy strike to the ball. He's a very nice player.
That big fella lost some kgs too.
Mm-hmm.
He's in
a little bit better shape still. Is he still chiefing him?
Oh yeah, I was the couple of events I was out there doing some podcast work, and I see Rafa and he's smashing it in the gym. It's like 7 a.m. and then I'll walk by about an hour later and he's outside just ripping heaters. He's like,
I
yeah, I
love
probably
that.
should quit. But
Maniac.
That's not the chick. Is it Charlie Hull?
yeah.
Why do they make such a big scene of it? Like, I think they should broadcast people that smoke on golf courses are the best.
What about Laura Davies? She
Oh,
was
it's
the
just-
absolute daddy.
The dame.
She
I
would
can't believe people are
smash.
making an issue,
It's
but
a
I guess
little
that's
different.
that's the world we live in.
She used to, Laura Davies, I remember Vic Open, she used to stay across the road at a pub.
Oh, yeah,
And every
lovely.
day she'd sink schooners, smoke darts, and just bet on the horses,
horses.
all day. She was a legend. And I'm like, yeah, no,
Sounds like a blast.
This is kind of cool, but I think it's the women's tour and the males tour are starved for like personalities.
Yeah.
So this is like
More so.
so out of the ordinary that it just goes viral.
When
every
something so ungolf happens, and you don't really see a lot of good-looking women smoking heaters on the golf course.
Yeah, but you do it at a bar.
Social media went nuts, and
Yeah.
like more of this, more of this.
By the way,
Yeah.
that course that the ladies played last week,
Lancaster.
one of the best courses I've ever played. No shit. It's like it's top. It's unbelievable. It's got 17 good holes. Not many courses have that.
Who won?
Who
Sasso?
won the?
Sasso
Sasa.
won?
Yeah, Minji Lee was going well, the Australian girl, and she had a terrible day. Like 2 fairways, like 5 greens or something.
Watch out for Minji Lee, actually. I was at Sellinger's Power Golf, little place I get repairs done, and she was in there just before me, and the boys were like, her putter grip was way off. She's going to start playing well. This is last week before she
Oh.
played
Some
the Open.
inside baseball
Wow.
right
So
there.
there you go.
Where are you living?
Dallas,
Dallas, that's
Texas, yeah.
right. Minji Lee. All right, well, I'll keep that in mind
She's-
next time I
she's-
bet on the LPGA.
Load
She's
up.
top 3 or 4 in the world. Like her brother's Minwoo Lee.
I knew that,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, for the listeners,
Not living in the dark.
Well, I think you are sometimes.
just need a little putter grip change. Now she's gonna go nuts.
It is
Yeah.
crazy how that happens, though. I've had that happen to me. I'll be using a putter for like 5 weeks. I'm like, why am I missing everything to the left with this thing? And then look down
In the putter.
and line it up, and it's just crooked as hell on there. I'm like, I am such an idiot for not checking this first.
Well, you see the airlines, how they treat a lot of the golf bags.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to check your lies and lofts and your putters. And
I think there might be
things
something
can-
to those lab putters. I'm gonna try
You
that.
think it is, there's 100% into those, something into those.
I'm
was having
using
a-
one.
I took one out the PGA on like Tuesday when I was walking the course. I took one off putting green and went and hit some putts with it on the course. It
Oh,
was-
I've got to get one. I used a Ping Zing too yesterday.
So good.
I'm
Oh
using,
my god, it was so bad.
I'm using one of the Mez. The biggest thing with Lab, what I think, because the whole technology
It's
is
the
zero torque, right?
Yeah.
So you're not fighting the torque. But the biggest thing for me using it is the trust of just letting the putter go.
Yes.
And it's I think putting is confidence. I think I've seen a Labrador make a 10-footer, so it's zero athletic ability. In my opinion, I think it's so much comes down to confidence.
Attitude.
And if you can have a putter where you trust that, like, so it's taken me about a year to get used to the Lab. Like,
Are you using the long one?
No. I'm using the short Mez, like the thing that
The
looks like
square?
a brick.
Center,
Yeah, like
center
that.
Bounce
shaft.
2 or something. Yeah.
Not the big one.
No.
Yeah.
The kind of one that's more traditional.
More
but
like
it's-
Scotty's.
But for me, it's you've got to give it a little time because I've never used a center shaft and it's hard for me
Right.
to line it up. But once you get by that, it's a pretty special piece of equipment. It's like
It really is.
you just let it go. You just go, all right, buddy, go ahead. And
my
do your work."
favorite thing about it is the initial, like right when I take it back, it traces back different for me than any other putter. I don't know
still
what
don't-
it is. It just that head. It almost like instead of coming in and rotating, it goes like back and almost feels
Yeah.
hooded for me. And it's not. It's just that putter has.
I gotta
it's-
try
It's
that.
the technology behind it. I'm not a
Yeah, it's like
scientist.
most other putters, you're fighting the torque to hold the
Yes.
face straight. This
Yes.
one, you're actually fighting the putter to not stay straight.
Right.
So it's like,
It's
it's
like-
like, nah, buddy, I want to.
Yeah, let me do the work
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Let me do the work.
I had a
This-
conversation with Cam the other day, and I still don't even know if I'm supposed to be using a face balance putter or a heel toe one. And then he's like, "Well, if you don't know, maybe try a lab putter, 'cause doesn't that sort of take all that out?"
Yeah, I
Like-
would try lab.
And I'm like yelling at guys. It's so funny watching guys on the PGA Tour that they rarely break tradition. Like, no, I've got to use a blade.
my
I've gotta-
God.
I'm like,
Nitties.
Scheffler, why don't you just use
You
a lab
think?
or
A
something?
lab. Hideki.
Yeah, like God,
Hello.
they're just
How
like-
about you use a lab putter, dude?
I'm just
I
like,
mean,
just
get away from
try
that
it.
answer thing.
Who
Yes.
does anyone own? Who owns Lab? Like who?
It's this one dude. He's been out. Thing
Sam,
is, his
Sam,
lab.
Sam Hahn.
Sam.
Yeah.
But
Is that the
lab
same guy
golf
that
has
did the-
been out for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is not anything new.
So
They're
I-
just now like catching.
They sent me one about 5 years ago, and like guys like Paul Spargo, Lee
Oh,
Deegan, a couple
legend.
guys were Aussie reps. It was a big rep. Adam Scott got involved early. Tim Wilkinson's been around
Timmy's been in.
but it's like it's been a guy invented it now. His name's I listened to the
I know him, dude. He's a good dude.
yeah, and he's like a mad scientist where he's like just wants to. He created the technology, and then Sam kind of ran with it, bought part of the company with him. They both. I could be,
Is Adam owning a piece of it?
I don't know that answer.
I
Probably.
don't
The only
know.
thing
Probably.
I know is if I was on a putting green like Tuesday at a tour event and there were bags lined up around the green and I was just fucking around and wanted to go try some new stuff, I would run to a Lab Golf and try that, and then it would be awesome. I would make everything.
Some of that's placebo
The other
too, but
one
that still counts.
is Axis.
Axis, the
Yes.
one that Justin Rose
Yes.
owns part of the company.
Yeah,
or
I
something.
like that one too.
That's another
For
good
like
one, yeah.
off-brand, you're not your Scotty Cameron or Odyssey or Toulons or stuff like that.
Golf's a lot about image. You got a lot of the young guys that want to use a camera just because it's like, hey, I'm using it.
It's like
mint.
buying a Range Rover when you get money.
Yeah,
I was going to buy one.
but
It
it's
is.
That's not a bad.
I was
comp
thinking about
right
buying
there.
one,
it's like
It
a rap
is.
on a
It's
Raptor.
like, what are you doing, man?
Matt bought a Raptor.
Being like everybody else. That was like my third car, though. It wasn't right off the rip.
This unpaid segment here for Lab Golf.
Well, yeah. So okay, I'll
Where-
tie
What a commercial though.
a
Yes.
bow in it. A good podcast on Golfers Journal, which they have like Adam Scott, they have Brett Rumford's on it, they have Lucas Glover's on it. That's pretty much a sell for Lab, but you listen to that and you're like, wow, I'm sold.
Yeah, I need
So
something.
if you're having struggles with your putting, I mean, just try it. As I said, I wish more PGA Tour players would try something different. They're so stuck in their ways. And
And then some will try everything.
well, yeah,
There's
actually,
a couple of guys
I
that
mean,
go, Tinker.
Let's say at the
Tinker
top
and
level,
Timmy.
the top level, I suppose. The same 10 guys have used the same putters for years, but yeah,
Rory should try something.
I had a
He's
year
got the room
early,
putt better.
maybe my second year on tour, six top 10, 6 different putters.
Leishman does that a little
Wow.
bit.
It's
Leishman
a pretty good
rotates.
one.
I had a theory where 4 different putters for every 4 days.
I don't think that's
Just
bad at all.
living the honeymoon.
I did that
you know.
one of my wins. I did that. I switched putters the last round.
Stop.
My second win. Yeah, I swear to God.
Unbelievable.
The problem
Yeah.
is like, okay, you've got your 4 putters. Set up.
Why?
Just because I wasn't making shit.
On the green? On the
Yes.
practice green or
The
in the round
tournament.
before?
The whole tournament. I
Sometimes
was hitting
just-
it great. I wasn't making anything. It was driving me nuts. And I just made a switch. I knew I was going to do it the second I walked off the green Thursday or
Sometimes
Saturday.
it just changes scenery. Just changes
But
your
change
attitude.
it every 4 days, even if the
I
tough
like
thing
that
would
move. Every 4 days.
What if you putt well the first day?
Part of the plan.
Okay, I like it.
Stick to the process.
It's part of the plan.
Well, then you know what you're putting with if it sucks.
Putting
on
with a
day
long
2.
putter in the third round, you're like, oh no, here
Mhm.
comes. It's like blackjack.
Do you know what I did one time, dude? In Houston, I played terrible the first round, like 78 or something. Going out the next day, and those armbar putters were becoming popular. I'd never even messed around with one on Tuesday. I grabbed it out of this dude's locker. I forget who it was, and just went out there and tried to play with the armbar in competition, like first time ever. Terrible.
Speaking of Houston,
Terrible.
the
Lives there
Lives playing golf club at Houston
this week.
What was originally called Redstone, right?
I saw an Instagram
Redstone.
post from Liv this week. They have a bunch of Houston Open champions on their tour.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Like 5? Is it 5? Paul
Poulter.
Casey Poulter,
Poulter,
Phil,
Matt
AK,
Matt Jones.
Matt Jones.
Oh, AK, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the best greens on tour at that,
Oh, so
that
good.
place.
Matt Jones had a walk off there, didn't he?
Yeah, nice little
Against
pitch.
Kuchar.
That was awesome.
It was against Kuchar.
Signature Matt Jones pitch shot. Right
Did you know?
there.
Hold on. Did you know that was
Yes.
the first thing?
It really was.
McGuinness on the bag, I remember.
Do you know it was the first time he'd won ever?
In anything?
He'd never won in college. He never won at Korn Ferry. Maybe some mini tours.
Wow.
But first, like proper sanctioned win.
I played the PGA with him at Whistling Straits. I think he was leading after 2 rounds.
and his brother played that week.
Yeah,
Brett.
yeah. He had that sling and draw working, man, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
so good.
Who's faster than you two?
He's faster than me.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
so quick.
Yeah, he is.
Who's the third fastest? I got a weird one that no one picks up when they talk about fast people. Ches Reevy's quick.
He
You ever play with
is.
Ches? He's
Yeah.
fast.
Daly was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
there's not many.
how about Liv coming to Dallas at Merida?
Merida.
How about that?
That place is.
My buddy
so
played a member
tough.
guest
Is
there.
that the
He said it's
team
awesome.
championship or
I
individual?
think it's
What do
the-
they have in there?
I think it's the team one. The
Yeah.
individual one's in Chicago.
If they
in
get any kind of weather there, any kind of like wind, when are they going there?
September.
Any kind of chill, so it'll be pretty nice.
Nah,
The
probably.
weather should be
Perfect.
should be pure, but October's the dicey month. But every second stage in October always seem to snow.
Oh yeah, that's
But-
wild.
But
You guys get
I
some
never went there.
crazy weather, dude.
it is.
It's
right
hotter in the
now.
summer and colder
Yeah.
in the winter.
But
Why live there?
I tell you, spring and fall is awesome.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's just, and then
4
winter
weeks
you
a
can
year.
get great weather too. But
Yeah,
you guys have got great weather here too.
we do.
So
Killer.
it's but
Unfortunately, everyone's worked that out. Everyone keeps
that
moving.
course it's a brute. So
Yeah.
you'll get guys. I hope they get it so hard, but
I've seen it on TV, and then I've taken a lesson there. I've never played it. I went and saw Josh Gregory there one time.
Is that where he teaches?
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
yeah,
Romo's out there all the time,
yeah.
slinging it,
Big piece
Cash
of property,
Does he play golf as well, or is he just slinging it?
just like you,
That
Pricey.
was good.
just like you. You are slinging it. Look at Pricey walks in with the Baker's Bay shorts on today.
they like my gardening
this guy's
shorts?
just such a flex.
Gardening.
No, it's not.
Walks up and down.
I did not
the
purchase
boulevard
these.
with his shirt off.
Try
Just-
Venus.
rooming with Pricey.
You are looking
for
great.
AIS.
Well,
for
I've
2
dropped
years.
15 pounds.
Had your
hold
first
on,
beer,
hold
huh?
on. I
Wait.
do have to say something.
Oh,
Yeah, now's my
yeah.
turn. Speaking the other week about going on a golf trip, someone that listens to our podcast, the great Trent up in Ohio, reached out and was like, "Hey, I'm a member of Camargo, so next week I'm going up.
Get
Stop.
fucked. Are you kidding me?
The golf club trying to organise soda. Clint Averett's coming up, and
Cool.
then Camargo, and then doing a Reds game, and then after the Reds game, I've only got one stadium to go. I have to do Seattle. I don't know when I'm going to
So
Seattle.
that's all you have to do is say on a podcast where you want to play, and somebody will reach out to you and invite
I
you
remember
to play.
Ted Scott. That was the caddies. for
I'm
the-
gonna
Ted
be
Smith.
in
Were you gonna
Black
say Ted
Mountain,
Smith?
North
Legend,
Carolina.
by the way.
Ted Smith is a legend. Played at UNC.
Love you,
Ted-
Ted.
Ted Scott put out on Twitter, hey, I think he was caddying for, I don't know who he was caddying for at the time, Bubba, missed the cut. Can anyone help me get on so-and-so? And everyone in his Twitter feed was like, oh my God, how fucking dare you? So I can't do that. I'll get hammered. But
Yeah.
I do, if anyone is listening and
No,
they're
this
members
is
of
better.
Let's Have a
But-
This
Break.
is way better than tweeting it. I mean, this
Yeah.
is
America's guest.
But I'm
Yeah,
and
he
trying to
is.
do Moraine, so I'm trying to do 4 in 3 days and the Reds game.
He
We'll see how we
he
go.
texts
That's
me.
a great
so
shout.
he texted me a couple of days ago this, right? And I have something else going on, so I can't do it. And I didn't
Herpes.
respond. And and he and we're walking in at the same time, and he goes, going up to Ohio to play wherever it is, and I'm like, oh, sick. He goes, did you get my text? You want to come? I'm like, damn, dude, I gotta go to we're going to
You can
Cooperstown.
Cooperstown next
You can have a
week.
shit on me this because I'm secure. I don't care. This is the thing I like to do now is to play cool.
I
courses
love
that
how these things just fall in your lap.
I'm
It is
jealous. I'm
unbelievable.
envious. I'm not.
Manifest.
I'm not
I'm
going to
jealous
crap
too.
about it. Yeah.
Well, end of the year,
Yeah.
I'm doing all the New Zealand courses in November. I'm gonna get
And
it.
Lucy, I mean, what a saint.
what a saying.
Oh my God,
She's a
Lucy's
legend,
the
hey.
best.
She's
She's the best.
I'm a catch. What can I say? I'm a prize.
Liz, look at him.
She's a lucky one.
I thought David Luderis was America's guest, but it's pricey now.
No, Luderis is. By the way, we've spoken about Luderis tons on this. He's trying to hook me up at Toyota, and Clint knows people out there too. But he's the teaching pro in the winter.
Medalist.
We've talked about
Killing
his Instagram. He every week's playing MacArthur. He's playing
Oh.
Adios.
He
he's playing
works
all these
hard though.
courses.
Like he
Yeah,
grinds
he's
hard.
good.
Like he's constantly posting stuff. And
You know,
doing
Pricey,
lessons
you
and-
could. Toyota does like the second stage for open qualifying some years, don't they? In
Yeah, they
Columbus?
have. This year, I did notice, let's go to open qualifying, Adam Scott lost in a playoff to Cameron Davis.
Oh.
New South Wales versus Queensland. New South Wales won, but we just played the fucking first game of the
They lost
3-game
by a
series,
mile.
and we got fucking smoked in the Origin this
It was
morning.
closer than the score said.
That guy shouldn't have got sent off, man. He
Big
was,
hit. You want to see a massive hit? A guy just out for the count.
Yeah, the guy got
That was-
smoked today. He's
Really?
like one of Queensland's best players. He was out for the game, and then our guy got kicked out.
State of Origin is our Pro Bowl where the players play.
Yeah, like
so
the
just
All-Star
imagine
game,
if NFL
They
the
tried.
players meant more to them than
Right.
the regular
It
season.
means everything. They play
So-
3 games in the middle of the season, and Queensland. That's where Cam Smith, Adam Scott, all that are from. They win every year. They're fucking too good. They're like rednecks up there. They're so dumb. They just win.
How's that statistic?
But Adam Scott he's played
There you go,
93 consecutive majors. He hasn't missed a major since 2001.
21 years.
That's like the most ridiculous stat ever.
Are you
Or am
kidding
I-
me? He should get an invite.
But he's 60th in the world, so he's like the first guy. He might be like first alternate and next in the world rankings.
So will he get a start in Memorial? That is a question, because he's not currently.
No,
in the
he's
field.
not in Memorial. They're playing tomorrow.
Well, that's today. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Tomorrow.
Well, I was wondering.
But
late,
you
late
know
after it,
how the world
late
rankings
sponsors.
work. You can move up by not playing. So how it works out, he could move up. I don't know. No, the cutoff's done. I don't know. He's probably going to miss.
He did in all of that record that you just said. He did qualify for US Open once in that.
Who
He
who
sectionals
did get the
once.
sponsor invites for
Memorial.
Billy-
Brand
Billy got
Snedeker,
one.
Billy
Brand
Brandt
Snedeker,
and Kuchar.
Workday.
And then I don't know who the fourth was.
Is Adam not on the advisory board anymore?
No, he is. But
That was cheeky.
Jeez.
yeah.
He's playing kind of.
But that's
really
the one he
good at
should have
playing
got.
good.
Like, hey, US Open's coming up. Let's wait till see if he qualifies on Monday. If not, let's give him one. So ironically, he's had quite a few, but this would have been one. But yeah, Workday are a big sponsor there. I think they're 3 Workday guys.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No,
So,
that makes sense.
You know, Tron gets on his, Tron Carter, Nerling Up gets on and gets so mad at these ones, but I think he does understand it. He can't not understand it.
Of course, he
understands
knows
it, but-
why they give him.
But
I
look,
mean,
Workday's given the money talks. So what Workday's going to...
I don't think you'll
give-
get anyone complaining about any of those.
Well, he is.
I hate it when people complain
This
about
this week,
sponsor
he's
invitational.
big time. He's
who's he complaining about?
Well, I'm sure Snedeker and all that. Like, but I don't know. Look, I love Tron. He's my buddy. But yeah, he has a hard on for these sponsor invites. That's his little lane, and I love it. Good for him. He's obviously brilliant at getting people engaged in that. But yeah, it would have been good if Adam got one this week.
Well, a quick segue, switching gears here. Did want to carve out some time to talk about Grayson Murray. I know you guys all knew him well, played with him, traveled with him. Just some very, very shocking news and pretty brutal stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, mate, you have the same agent, so
yeah,
you knew him the best of us 3. We all obviously knew him, but
yeah. I mean, I'm still processing it a little bit. Grayson and I was pretty close with Grayson when he came on tour. I was almost tabbed as like his babysitter, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of good times with
Big
him.
brother.
Yeah, a little bit. I had a lot of good times with him. I knew he battled
head noise.
a lot of stuff. Yeah, and it just, you know, he was loved. He had a ton of support. He just fought demons big time, and yeah, it sucks, man. The whole
He'd fly off the handle, but
the whole situation sucks.
He couldn't have been nicer, 99% of the time, and I think people all
Yeah.
saw
Just
through
walked-
his issues.
Just walked 9 holes with him at the PGA. It was phenomenal for him. Like
Mhm.
he was, I thought he was in a great place.
It just seemed like, I don't know.
Well, from the outside
just
looking
give it
in,
a day. We don't know what goes on in someone's head, but
yeah. But
could've
he
just
seemed to
given it another
had
day.
really turned his life around last year, and he went back to Korn Ferry.
Yeah, I saw
And-
him on the Korn Ferry Tour. I said
yeah,
hey
he
to
won.
him. And
Yep. Had Kip Henley caddying.
one thing with Grayson is I don't think the exterior public knew how many people he talked to behind the scenes. He never made it like he went out of his way to see if other people were doing well, which I found a lot after, obviously the outpour of the stories and that. And even when I saw him, and I wasn't close to Grayson, I mean, obviously had to cover him, and unbelievable talent, like easily
Yeah,
could
he
have
hit the
5,
ball. It was a different thump.
Unbelievable. So it's like he had everything, especially at this time. But I remember I hadn't played with him for 10 years, and he's like, yeah, hey man, like I went up and introduced myself because I don't know which guys remembered me. Like it's been so far removed from tour, and he was like, I remember we played, it was at Houston, it was a Monday qualifier, and I was like, yeah, that's right, like I knew who he was because he was kind of this new crazy talent to come out, and I think it's just perception of he knew he was struggling and he was in obviously a really dark place, but even through that, he would make sure that he would reach out to people via text, DMs, and then you find out that he actually looked after a lot of people, via seeing if they were okay themselves, more than obviously people thought he did. And it's you know, he's this persona. He has this atmosphere around him. Persona. He's like this big, strong, like jack dude.
Dude, he is the. He
It still doesn't.
He
make
is
sense.
a specimen. I mean, just. I know he got after it in the gym, but he was one of those guys. If he never lifted a weight in your life, you would not want to fight this guy.
Yeah,
like,
and
he was a big
country
dude.
strong.
Yes.
Farm strong, like the big forearms.
Yeah. And you talk about a talent, like, man,
one of the best drivers.
I played
seen.
so much golf with him. I mean, we worked with the same coach for a while, but Kevin and I, or Grayson and I, having Kevin as our agent, it was just easy for us to, you know, if Kevin was out that week, for us to play together. And Grayson, as far as driving the golf ball, he drove it like Dustin, dude. I mean, I'm with you, Pricey. It doesn't make a lot of sense. He's got everything everything in the world ahead of him, man. He's got his career back. He seemed to be on a good path, and it's a brutal story.
But he also had the ability to cut stuff off, because he obviously, you know, years ago was on Twitter saying outlandish stuff. Well, you know what he did? He just quit Twitter. And like, that takes a lot for some of these guys who love that engagement. He quit that. You know, he was obviously struggling. I
know social media was a big issue.
But he got off it. But he had the ability to get it out of his life. And obviously he was gambling. He was drinking. He got rid of that. And he wasn't drinking. He wasn't gambling. We know that, you know, he was losing a lot of money gambling. And then he stopped. So, and he went on tour. It was like, this guy couldn't be a better redemption story, like a daily redemption story. And then, you know, one day you wake up. I was at Sea Island playing, and you get the text, and you just like, you just get immediately frozen for about 5 seconds, and then it hits you, and you're like, no, like you like I'm not saying the same thing, but like the Twin Towers going, you're like, no, it couldn't. It's just this 5 second of just, you're lost. You're in a cloud, like, wondering, did this happen? Is this a dream? You know, again, I wasn't best friends with the guy, but I'd seen him in December, and he was so happy. He was playing the member pro at Dyke Reserve, and the guy ran up. Like, we're not, but, you know, he knows I would sort of fight for him a little bit on Twitter, because a lot of people didn't understand what he was saying, which happens with the written word. We had this interesting relationship, but I'd never seen a dude just having the world at his feet, but you don't know what's going on inside a guy's head.
No. I remember, like, I had a lot of good times with that guy. Like, a lot of really fun times that a lot of people won't sign up for. But he was one of them. He was a freaking
He had
blast,
balls.
Dude.
I wish I had.
He's must-see TV. He really was. And I'm not talking about television. I'm talking about real life. Like, the guy was just pure entertainment. He was also one of those guys, you'd look at him from a distance and you would smile, because you just... Yeah, that guy makes you smile over there, and I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah, I wish I had 5% of the balls he had. He had some plums on him. Like, he was tough.
But, well, yeah, that's tough, and I just had to bring it up and honor him and talk about his legacy. So, rest in peace, Grayson.
I did a nice thing on the Korn Ferry Tour last week in North Carolina, in Raleigh, where, you know, he spent a lot of his life. That was pretty cool. I saw Kevin was there, and man, Kevin Canning, Matt's agent, is such a great, wholesome dude. I feel really bad for what he's going through, because, you know, your agent becomes like your second dad, like your business teacher, like all that stuff. And so, you know, thinking about Kevin too.
Yeah, and great, you know, in Kevin's corner too. I mean, Grayson probably wasn't the easiest client to deal with, and Kevin's been in his corner since Grayson stepped out of college, and definitely a tough time for Kev too, for sure.
Yeah, it affects a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, that was a lot of fun. Nitties,
yeah, boys.
Thanks for coming in, bud.
Thanks for the invite. It was a
to,
blast. Yeah.
Trying to see your face for a minute. Good to see it.
Yeah, good to put a face. Well, obviously we know the face to the name, but for the television viewers, you know, they hear that sweet voice on TV. This is the face. Can you believe it? This is the face behind the voice. Look at this guy.
Get the camera off Shane Bacon and put it on Nitties.
That's right.
No offense, Shane.
What are we doing?
Pretty face too.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. No, it's I love the operation you guys have got going. It's very wholesome, very familiar to a lot of guys on the Korn Ferry Tour, and hopefully more. You guys get a ton of guys on the PGA Tour. I know there's a couple boys you got, but yeah, it's
we'll see.
It's fun. It's I wish I was part of the in-house team. This is it looks like a blast. You got a good thing going here.
Thanks for
dude.
saying that, bud.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Cheers.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Nitties.
See it.